Hey planty people, I'm Sam from Sam's Nature Nook, and today I'm going to be talking about how to prepare LECA. LECA, or Lightweight Expanded Clay Aggregate, are little clay balls that can be used in hydroponic or semi-hydroponic setups. These clay balls retain moisture for extended periods of time and can also transmit moisture through the capillary effect to each other when they're touching. I couldn't find super clear measures for how to prepare your LECA, what you needed to do when your plant was actually in it, if you need to clean it, what. I saw crazy things about boiling LECA, and that was when I decided it was not for me. However, you do not actually have to do that. The process for preparing LECA is not as easy as just putting it in a pot. I wish it were. That would make life a lot easier and simpler. But the actual preparation process isn't that bad. Once you get your LECA, to prepare it, there are a few methods that you can use. The first thing that you'll want to do once you get your LECA, especially if it's really dusty like this, is to rinse it off. You'll want to make sure that you rinse your LECA off outside, either using a strainer or a bag with holes in it already, because the clay dust is not very good for your pipes. After rinsing off your LECA, you'll want to leave it to soak to prepare it for retaining more moisture. Here, you have two options. It's typically advised to let your LECA soak for a total of 48 hours for best results. So you can let it soak for 48 hours straight, or you can let it soak for about 24 hours, take it out, rinse it, and then let it soak for another 24 hours. When I've been in a little bit of a pinch or rush, I've also just rinsed my LECA, let it soak for 24 hours, taken it out, rinsed it again, and then used it, and I had no issues. So the 48 hours is what you'll typically see online, but I have had success with doing it for shorter. As a note, if your LECA isn't quite as dusty as this, you may not need to rinse it beforehand. Some of my favorite LECA, and I say LECA because I don't know if it's actually Lightweight Expanded Clay Aggregate, but they're miniature clay balls that I get off of Amazon, either in brown color or pastel rainbow. They're very cute, but they come in a perfectly sealed bag with no holes, and they're not dusty. So I usually just fill up the bag, leave it for around 2 days, and then after that I'll take it out, rinse it, and put it in my setups. So once your LECA is prepared, there's a few different ways that you can set it up. So in front of me I have more straight hydroponic setups and semi-hydroponic setups. With this setup, I have the plant and LECA and water with no drainage, nowhere for it to go. To set this up, I poured some LECA on the bottom, put the plant in around where I normally would when I'm repotting, and then put LECA over top of it, and then poured in water with fertilizer. In this setup, I actually have a nursery pot in here filled with LECA, and then a cache pot that's filled with water that has fertilizer in it. And then with this option, I have this glass pot type thing that I got from Goodwill, and I have a nursery pot that just happened to perfectly fit it. So I have that sitting in the glass pot with water that has fertilizer in it. As a note, LECA contains no nutrients like soil or other substrates such as pollen would. So you'll have to make sure that you add fertilizer to your water whenever you water to make sure that the plants are getting nutrients that needs to grow and stay healthy. If you have your setups in kind of clear pots like this, you are more likely to have algae growth. With this, you'll just have to make sure that you clean it occasionally so that the algae doesn't suffocate the roots. Ways that you can avoid this are using a clear cache pot, as I have here, which prevents the sun from penetrating that area, causing the algae growth. I've had this set up like this for quite a while in a sunnier window, and I'm honestly shocked it hasn't developed algae yet. Fingers crossed. Something about LECA that really dissuaded me from trying it for so long was flushing your LECA. I'd always heard that you need to flush your LECA about once a month, and I didn't quite know what this involved, but I assumed it would involve some chemicals or like an actual flushing thing, and I was not about it. However, as someone who now uses LECA very routinely, I can tell you that it's actually really easy. Flushing your LECA basically just means rinsing your substrate. This is very easy if you have a setup like this where water can flow easily out of drainage holes. To flush your LECA, you'll simply want to pour water over top of the LECA, and this will remove any chemical buildup that could harm your plants. It's as easy as that for them. With setups like this where it's all contained, it's a little bit more difficult, but you can use a few different methods. One option is you can dump everything out and rinse it and then put it back in. Another is you can kind of tip it over. I'm not actually going to do it here because I'll make a mess, but dump all of the water out, put new water in, rinse it around a little bit, dump it out again, and then fill it up as you normally would. And to return to boiling LECA, something that also dissuaded me from using it, you don't actually have to boil your LECA in any step of the preparation process. However, if you do have a plant that's in LECA and it develops a fungus type of situation, whether it's like rotting, has actual fungus going on, gross, has an infection, or just is generally unwell, then you can boil your LECA to sanitize it. I really like LECA because it's reusable, whereas with like soil mixtures, you would just have to dump it out if your plant gets sick in it. To be safe, I typically dump out any soil I use with evergreen pots, which is quite wasteful. Whereas with LECA, I can keep it. Oh, I missed it. So it's currently rainy and a little bit chilly out, but the LECA prep stops for no one. To do this, I just pour the LECA into the colander. Whew, look at all that dust. Very ASMR. Since I'm doing this outside, I do not have infinite water. I mean, I guess since it's raining, I could just leave this out here. But I typically have to fill up a pitcher a few times when rinsing it outside. So to rinse it, it's about what you'd expect. Make sure it doesn't get on you and pour. Whew, that's dirty. So now that I've rinsed it a few times and gotten most of the clay dust off, and I'm getting thoroughly wet both from the rain and from pouring water all over my shoes, which are my beater sneakers, thank goodness, I'm going to pour the LECA in its home for the next 2 days. Easier said than done. Alrighty. Now that I've gotten into my trusty Ziploc bag, I'm going to take this inside, fill it up with water, seal her up, and leave her for 2 days. After she's been soaking for about 2 days, I'll take it back outside, repeat the same process, rinsing it in the colander, and then it will be good to go. Thank you so much for watching my video on all things LECA. If you're interested in purchasing either the larger LECA balls or the mini LECA balls, I will have those linked in the description below. I do not currently have an Amazon storefront set up, and I'm not an Amazon affiliate, so I will get no benefit from you purchasing that. But if you are interested in trying those products, these are LECA types that I have used, am comfortable with, and love. Thank you so much and have a great day. Now I'm gonna go prepare my clay balls.